This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. There is a very real and dangerous trend among Republicans, and it has existed for a long time, and that is the invocation of threats of violence when talking about political disputes, when talking about mobilization and organizing, activism. They talk about the Second Amendment and using their Second Amendment to stop this and stop that, which is not even veiled code for violence. I will shoot you and kill you. Steve Bannon, over the weekend or late week last week, trying to get my shit together here, gave an interview to NBC where he invoked the term shock troops. The quote is if you're going to take over the government, take over the administrative state and deconstruct it, then you have to have shock troops prepared to take it over immediately, is what he told NBC. Now, a shock troop, here's the definition of shock troop: a group of soldiers trained specifically for carrying out a sudden assault. Not a rhetorical assault. We're talking about physical violence. We're talking about warfare. We're talking about shock and awe. Shock troops was a nickname given to Marines by Germans. I don't know the original German name, but it is not a metaphor to be used lightly. I'm going to read a little bit from this article from NBC. Bannon fires up shock troops for next GOP White House. The former advisor to President Donald Trump spoke Wednesday night to a new association of Republican presidential appointees in Washington. Scores of former Trump political appointees gathered at a GOP social club Wednesday night to hear Steve Bannon detail how he could help the next Republican president reconfigure government. Again, the quote: if you're going to take over the administrative state and deconstruct it, then you have to have shock troops prepared to take it over immediately, Bannon said in a telephone interview with NBC News. I gave him fire and brimstone, meaning the group he was speaking to. Bannon, who ran former President Bannon, we'll say the way we say it on this program. Bannon, who ran ex-President Donald Trump's first campaign and later worked as a top advisor in the White House, said that Trump's agenda was delayed by the challenges of quickly filling roughly 4,000 slots for presidential appointees and federal agencies in the steep the steep learning curve for political officials who were new to Washington. Well, this morning, Bannon doubled down. Rather than explain away the euphemism, the metaphor of shock troops, he doubled down. That we need 20,000, he said, and from that we'll take the 4,000 best. This is a dangerous track that they are treading on. Talking about filling the government, overtaking the government with shock troops. It's the same kind of language that was used in the run-up to the insurrection at the United States Capitol building. We're going to fight for our country. This is an assault. And here he is, whipping them into a frenzy again, very likely, in an attempt to have a second go-round of something similar to what took place on January 6th. Here's the video of him doubling down on his remarks. Watch this.
Other side. We control this country. If you look at the values of working class people and what they want, basically be left alone, right? If you look at it, we are at least 2/3 of the nation. I actually think 75%, but we're 2/3 of the nation. The opposition, particularly the opposition elite and all their soy boys and everything in Silicon Valley media, it's not a big part of the population. And they understand that. They understand it. The thing they fear is the righteous indignation of the working class in this country. And now they're seeing it, and that's why they're in meltdown. The story, I gave this talk to these appointees, and here's what I said. We're winning big in 2022. We're going to win big in 2024. We need to get ready now, right? We control this country. We got to start acting like it. And one way we're going to act like it, we're not going to have 4,000 ready to go. We're going to have 20,000 ready to go, and we're going to pick the 4,000 best and the most ready in every single department. And that's when we really start to deconstruct the administrative state. That's talking of CPAC. And they always trying to destroy. No. We're trying to get an FDA that works. We're trying to get a CDC that works. By the way, about the administrative state, why was the testing so bad? They never want to talk. Why was the testing so bad? Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe, Brian Williams, Richard. Why was the testing so bad at the beginning of the pandemic? Because the CDC had an inside deal with guys that had been at CDC. They didn't have the testing rate. That's the administrative state. You look at these institutions, they're rotten to the core. They need to be rejuvenated, and they will be rejuvenated, okay? Starting with the FBI and the Justice Department. Yep. So we're winning. Remember, in psychological warfare, which is that's the vanguard of warfare today, in unrestricted warfare, in modern warfare. It's not kinetic, it's psychological. The psychological warfare operation is to break your will to resist, to make you believe that resistance is futile. It's going to be 10 new states, it's going to be 50 new justices. Look at all the people curled up in the fetal position on the afternoon of January 20th of 2021, that it was all over. And no, this show, but most importantly, because we're all interchangeable, you, this audience, said, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. That didn't happen before in the Revolution. That didn't happen in the Civil War. That didn't happen in the Great Depression or World War II. This is just the fourth turning. Been there, done that. We've seen this before, right? It's going to be fine. We're not going to back down an inch. In fact, I got news for you. We're going on offense. How about that? We're going on offense.
We're not going to back down an inch. We're going to go on offense. There's a number of things that we could spend a lot of time talking about related to what he just said. Two things. One, it's laughable that multi-millionaire Steve Bannon would say, we, the working class, control this country. Steve Bannon is not, maybe never has been, working class. Steve Bannon is a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, soft-skinned, callous-free tool. And then the other thing, again, invoking imagery of psychological warfare, talking about warfare. And I'm not sure if he was trying to say that Democrats are trying to break their will to resist, but he's really showing his hand because that is indeed what they are doing. Breaking the will of, listen, as much as it pains me to say, we do owe some gratitude or appreciation for the fact that their will held. Some Republicans across the country, Brad Raffensperger, individuals like this did hold the line. They did what was required of them by the law. So we shouldn't appreciate it. Oh, thank you. But we should acknowledge that that did happen. And it is Republicans who are attempting to break their will to resist the onslaught of this assault from Republicans, even on other Republicans. That there's nothing we can do. Trumpism is too powerful. That's what's happening. Those two things, they really stuck out to me. There's a whole bunch more that they're going to go on the offensive with his shock troops talk. Dangerous times. And I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better, especially when individuals like Steve Bannon are facing lawsuits and investigations and possible indictments over their role in the insurrection, the attempted overthrow of the United States government, the failed coup attempt, the attempted overturning of a free and fair election. Steve Bannon is the worst of the worst. A reprehensible slob talking about soy boys. Shut your mouth, you vile, sinister ghoul. Ugh. Anyway, what do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Click like, type in a little comment there. We'll get around the YouTube algorithm and have my content served up to new people. Follow me on social media. That would be fantastic. And if I bring you value, and only if I bring you value, please consider supporting my work, helping produce my work here on the platform. For as little as $2 a month, you can become a channel member. Click the join button below the video here, or you can head on over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. That would be great. Listen, I know I'm not for everybody. If there's somebody else out there who brings you more value, who does more for you, who you think is more worthy or deserving or better at what they're doing, support that person. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.